Hi, we're on the shores of Kauai again to talk about the techniques project managers have to use to influence and persuade people. Now, there are a lot of project managers out there who think they don't have to do this, and they're absolutely wrong. Most project managers have no authority. They have no political clout in the organization. They have no rewards. They have no punishments. They have nothing to cause people to do things besides being able to persuade them. This is as true when they make presentations to executives as when they deal with their project team. We need to persuade and influence people on all of those levels, and there are a whole lot of project managers who don't do very well managing projects because they do not have the technique to influence people and persuade them. All right, let's talk about the common practice in terms of how too many project managers try and persuade executives to support their project and try and influence their project team members. And the number one technique they use is to talk about the technical details of the project. Project managers are, in general, very good technically. They like talking and thinking about those things. But the one little problem with that is talking technical detail does not persuade, particularly an executive. And even many members of your project team simply are not interested. And so this technical detail falls flat as a presentation. And if you have executives you're trying to present project plans to, and suddenly they no longer come to the meeting, but they send somebody else, the usual reason is, and I promise you I've sat through a lot of these, the project manager tries to impress the executive with the technical details and how knowledgeable they are technically, and this falls absolutely flat, except for an executive who may be a technician, and those are fairly rare. So this idea of the technical details are persuasive is 100% wrong. So are the details of the project schedule and the project scheduling and how brilliant you were scheduling and optimizing the resources. Yeah, that's nice stuff to do. I'm not saying it isn't valuable, but it's not the way you persuade people. There's only one way to persuade people, and that is to talk about what they're interested in, not what you're interested in. So if your presentations aren't going well, if people don't listen, if you don't get support for your projects, odds are the problem is the techniques you are using to try and influence and persuade people. That's a common practice. It happens far too often. Too many executives tell me, yeah, we got some brilliant technical project managers, but I sure wouldn't want to sit next to them on a long airplane ride. Now, what are the consequences of not being able to influence and persuade people? Well, first of all, you don't get stakeholder and executive support for the project. Yeah, they may talk a little bit right after your presentation about how they're going to support the project and lend you people, but a week and a half later, they don't even know your first name because you have not engaged them in the project. So the resources, the team members you think you borrowed don't show up for work, and when they do, if you give them the same ineffective presentations and a discussion, you don't earn any commitment from them. And remember, you've got no authority or power. So you have to have people whose commitment you can earn, who you can influence. And talking technical details or project details is not the way to do it. Okay, now let's talk about the best practices and what project managers who are able to influence and persuade people, what they do. The number one thing they do is to listen when executives talk to them. They're not lost into trying to translate this into the technical design. They listen to what executives say so they can learn what performance pressures that executive is feeling. And if you listen to what people say, don't try and design a project. Listen to what they're talking about, what problems they are talking about. Or you may ask, what problems are we trying to solve with this project? I want to get your view on how things will be different when this project's finished. What problems will go away? Those are the performance pressures executives feel. And they're problems they want solved. And once I can uncover that, and it's not hard, I can design the presentation and the way I talk about the project in terms of ways to relieve those performance pressures. This sounds so simple. It's amazing people don't do it all the time, but project managers get lost in instantly trying to design the project rather than just sitting back.
A big part of a project manager's success is based on communicating in meetings with individuals or small groups and in making presentations. Our individual instruction courses give you practice in these areas in live online sessions. Your instructor will play the role of the person with whom you're working. The sessions are a lot of fun and our students and instructors enjoy them. You'll get live practice thinking on your feet and answering the questions that PMs have to answer. It's just the two of you working privately, and if you get off track, your instructor will call timeout, give you feedback and coaching, and then back up the meeting so you can try again. Please consider one of our courses.